I survived my freshman year of college! We did it! Which means that I am currently going back to employment at the place that I worked before I moved to Chicago for school, which is as a party princess. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of my makeup and kind of talk about my job and what it's like. I don't know, I think it's interesting. It's definitely an unconventional job, and I like talking about it. Today's event is an Elsa event, so that is the makeup we're gonna be doing today. Every character has specific makeup you have to do for them, and the makeup is the same for every person who plays said character so that it's consistent. You know, we do lots of events with the city of... That's the city I live. I'm probably gonna beep that out. And so you never know when you're gonna run into someone who's been at a previous event. And if that happens, you want to try to look as similar as possible, even if you're someone completely different playing a character that they've already met. The makeup is usually based off the makeup that the characters actually wear in the movies. Elsa's is obviously lots of purples and blues and hot pinks. And if the characters wear makeup that's not super noticeable, say Ariel in The Little Mermaid, we usually just go by the colors that are standard at the Disney park. And since I've been doing this for 3 years, I'm a pro at doing Elsa makeup. I've done it so many times. She's definitely the character I play the most because she's booked the most, because everybody loves Frozen. At the end of the school year, going into my junior year of high school, I was looking for a job. I had just been in a show the previous summer with somebody who I was following on Instagram, and she kept posting about this party princess company that she was working for, and I thought I could do that. At that point, I've been doing theater for like 5 years. I had lots of experience with improv. I had lots of experience with character work. I was pretty good at doing my makeup because I've been doing makeup since I was really little for dance recitals and such. And I think that was also the year right after I played Cinderella in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. So I was like, I'm an ingenue. I reached out to the company, I think over Instagram, because I couldn't find any stuff about hiring. And turns out they were literally just about to post a "we're hiring" post. So I went ahead and went through the application process. I'm really pale. And Elsa's also really pale, so we're gonna use e.l.f. 16 HR Camo Concealer Matte Finish. The thing about Party Princess makeup is that it's really, really heavy. No blemishes, no flaws. Makeup is quite thick. It's very similar to like stage makeup. The first thing that I did was I sent in my headshot and resume to the company manager. You don't necessarily have to have acting experience to be a party princess, but I think most of the people who were working there at the time did, and I know for a fact that most of the people working there now do. Party princessing is just, you know, it's where all the theater kids go to get employed, because we're dramatic and we like attention, and we're good at improv, I suppose. So I sent in my headshot and my resume, and they liked it, so they sent me another application to fill out, and this was kind of like a Google form. So it had questions like, do you have any visible tattoos? Do you have any piercings aside from your ears? What is your vocal range? That kind of shebang. So I filled out that form. I was like, I've been doing theater since I was like, I don't know, I think I was 11 when I started doing theater, and I was 16 at the time. I have experience with improv. I have experience volunteering at summer camps. So I've worked with kids before, and they're like, cool, that sounds promising. We want you to come in and do an in-person audition. We're gonna use makeup remover to get it off my brows. I'm just too lazy to avoid them when I'm actually doing my makeup. Next, we're gonna take some of this Airspun translucent powder. I've only been using this powder for a relatively short period of time, and I've never used it for princess makeup before, but I have used it for drag. And it's really good powder, and it's really cheap, and it comes with like a little floof. We're just gonna powder your entire face so that everything stays in place and you don't sweat it off, or it doesn't come off on the fingers of grabby little children who want to touch Queen Elsa's face. And also because the wig is platinum white, and so we don't want to get makeup all over that. So that is powdered. So I think we're gonna start going in and doing the eye makeup. I have this palette. It is the Morphe, I think 39A palette. This is what it looks like. It has a lot of colors. And then I also have the NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. So we're going to be using a lot of the purplier shades in this. And then I have all of these brushes that I bought off of Amazon. I don't know what the brand is, but I've been using them for 3 years. They're great and they were really cheap. And we're just gonna put that all over my eyelid, all the way up to my eyebrow. It's like super over exaggerated. That's just how it is sometimes. In hindsight, I probably should have done this first so that the fallout isn't a disaster, but that's fine. Oh my god. I remember my in-person audition thing was in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't actually at the location where the costumes and wigs and stuff were kept. It was at like a warehouse thing beneath one of the office buildings that one of the managers worked in. And it was a far drive too. It was like an hour-long drive to get to this random place where I was doing this. And my mom had to drive me because I didn't have my license yet. So my mom just had to drive me to this random building in the middle of nowhere where I was like, I'm gonna go and be interviewed to be a princess. Let's hope this isn't a trap. I remember when I got there, I thought somebody else was auditioning before me because Journey to the Past from Anastasia was blasting in the room where they were doing the auditions and someone singing really loud along to it. And then it turns out nobody was auditioning. It was just my future boss singing along. So I basically went in and they had me sit at this table. It was the two people who were running the company. They interviewed me. It was like an in-person interview first before I did the audition. They again asked me about my acting and singing experience, but it was more so, I think, they were trying to figure out my values as a performer, if that makes sense. They asked me lots of questions about character integrity. They asked me lots of questions about why I wanted the job and why I thought party princessing was important, which I think I'm lucky that the company that I work for and my boss and the people that I work with have like a very clear understanding of why party princessing is important and why it matters beyond just, oh my god, we get to dress up and look so pretty. I think there is value in what we do and what we bring to kids, and I'm lucky to work for a company that very much understands that. But obviously my interview went well, and then after that they had me sing a song. I honestly don't really remember the timeline. I know the entire application process took a few months, but I don't remember what parts took super long and what parts didn't. But eventually they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to come in and do like a final callback. So instead of meeting them in this random warehouse building, I went to where the costumes and stuff were actually stored. All of the costumes for the company that I work for are handmade by the founder of the company, and they are like absolutely stunning. So the final callback mostly just consisted of putting me in different wigs. I know they put me in a Merida wig, they put me in an Ariel wig, I think they put me in an Elsa wig. I know they were really looking at me for Elsa because I'm so tall, and Elsa and Anna are usually booked together and Elsa has to be taller, so I think they just wanted someone who was tall. And then they also had me try on 2 costumes, I think. All of the costumes for this company are made in a way where they can fit a very wide range of body types. So I think they had me try on the costume that fit the smallest people and then the costume that was able to fit the biggest people to kind of see where I would stand when it comes to what costumes I could and couldn't fit. Only one of the people who was running the company at the time was there for my callback, and before I left she was basically like, hey, I have to ask the other person who's running the company, but we really like you and we want to hire you and you're probably gonna get a yes, so just anticipate that. So I was literally on my drive home. My mom was driving me home because I couldn't drive yet, and I got a message that was basically like, hey, we'd really love to employ you. We think you are really promising. We think you have a good understanding of what this job is about, and we'd really like to work with you. And I was like, yes, I just got hired to be a party princess. That's so exciting. And they were like, hey, so we actually have an unpaid event tomorrow. Would you like to do that event? It's unpaid, it's a volunteer event, both tomorrow and the next day. I was hired on a Friday, so they're referring to like a Saturday and a Sunday. Would you like to do this event? And I was like, sure, what event is it? And they were like, it's Pride. I went as Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Here are some pictures. Yeah, it was like a really, really fun event. I think it was a good event to start with because if you can survive Pride as a party princess, you can do basically anything. That event was so stressful. But also it was just really nice to be working at Pride. You've seen any of my YouTube videos, you know that Pride is an event that I would love to be at. And then shortly after that, I did my first party. I had 2 events in one day, and I was Elsa and another girl was Anna. My first event ever was at a nursing home. It was like an hour-and-a-half drive. Someone was turning 100 and we were there to entertain the grandchildren. And then after that, that, we did a party at like a gymnastics gym. Part of me feels like I haven't improved at all when it comes to being a party princess. And then I look at pictures from my first events. This was me, that first Elsa event that I ever did when I had no experience being the character and I'd never done a party. And then this is my most recent Elsa event, which was before I left for college. Right now we're taking this darker shade and we're putting it in my crease. I think I got really lucky to be working at the party princess company that I'm working at because, believe it or not, there's party princess drama. Any job of this style, you're gonna attract people who are very much doing it for the wrong reasons. There's always gonna be people who are party princesses because they like to look pretty and they like to put on a pretty gown and take pictures and they like to, you know, brag that they're a princess in their free time. But at the end of the day, as cheesy as it sounds, that's not actually what being a party princess is about, and that's not what your top priority should be. Your top priority as a party princess should always be making memories for kids, making a special moment for the kids. It's very obvious when you're working with someone where that's not the case. Like, I've been doing this for 3 years. I have seen people get fired. You can tell. And it has an impact on the performance and it has an impact on how well you're able to do your job. I know I look insane, but this is the makeup that I have to do for this job. Honestly, I think Elsa works great for me because she's constantly terrified every time she's around people because she's scared she's gonna freeze them. And I'm constantly terrified every time I'm at an event that I'm going to accidentally mess something up and then a kid's gonna realize that, oh my god, you're just an actor. And then if a kid stops believing in, you know, the Disney princesses that their parents hired for their party, what's next? Santa, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny? God. She's honestly the hardest character I play because she's so calm and collected, and that's really hard. My favorite character that I play is probably Ariel. She was the first one I ever did. I already showed you pictures. I've only done like 2 or 3 events as her, and it's such a shame. There's just something so fun about being able to go to an event or a party. Your character's just so fascinated by everything around you. I've also played Rapunzel. Rapunzel is everything to me. I love her so much! Some of my favorite moments of me party princessing have come from Rapunzel. Rapunzel's by far the jumpiest, most excitable, happiest character that I play. Being able to go to an event, hang out with kids, and be batshit banana bonkers. Oh, I love it so much. I was Cinderella, never actually for an event, but for a photo shoot right at the beginning of 2020. So we did this photo shoot and then everything went to shit and we stopped doing events for a while. That dress is absolutely stunning. I was Anna one time. We did like a COVID safe event where kids would drive past a church that we were standing out of. We would pass candy through their window. I've never been Anna since. Probably will never be Anna again. I'm gonna do my eyeliner off camera. I'll be back. I thought they were even and I'm not sure anymore. Are they twins? Are they sisters? Are they cousins? I don't know. I feel like they're pretty even. Eyelashes scare me so much. I am so bad at doing these. So I did a parade for one of my old theater directors as Aurora. My director was originally gonna provide the costume, but I reached out to my boss and I was like, hey, I'm doing this event for one of my theater directors. I was wondering if I could borrow the Aurora dress just for this event. And she was like, sure. So I picked up the dress and I picked up the wig and I went and I did this event. And I met this one girl. She was so excited to be meeting this princess. And I was so excited to meet someone who actually cared about Aurora. And we talked for a long time because this was an event. It wasn't a party. So I was able to sit and interact with this one girl for at least 30 minutes. We are going to give her a fake name. We'll call her Rosie. The following weekend, I did another event, not as Aurora, but Aurora was also there. And when we got to this event, who was there? Rosie. Now, the girl who was playing Aurora did not know that I had met this girl prior, but the girl like comes up to me and she's like, is Aurora here? Is Aurora here? I met Aurora last week. And I remembered her name and I remembered meeting her and talking with her for 30 minutes. So I was like, yeah, are you Rosie? She was like, what? She was like, what? You know who I am? I was like, yeah. Aurora told me and all of my princess friends all about you. She said she had the best time hanging out with you at this event last weekend and that you were so much fun to get to know. We didn't know you were gonna be back in the kingdom for this event. This girl's losing her mind. She's like, Aurora told all the princesses about me? Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure her mom has caught on to the fact that I am the same person. Her mom's just like freaking out. The girl who plays Aurora comes up to us and I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, hey Aurora, look, it's Rosie that you were telling me about from last weekend. And the girl who's playing Aurora, bless her soul, immediately picks up on what I'm saying and trying to communicate. And she goes, oh my my goodness, Rosie, it's so good to see you again. While we're at this event, the word spreads among all my other coworkers because this was like a big event. There were like 15 of us there. And soon everybody there knows and recognizes Rosie and is able to say hi to her and be like, Aurora told us so much about you. And that's like probably one of my favorite memories as a party princess. That girl was so excited. That was a peak moment for me as a performer. Genuinely, I don't think I'm ever gonna forget that. That is what being a party princess is about, is creating moments like this that just make kids and their parents just so happy. Those are the lashes. It's so weird to me feeling this confident in a full face of makeup when earlier today I was feeling so confident because I was looking so masculine. My hair was the perfect amount of fluffy. This robe is giving gender. Then I had to forcibly feminize myself for the paycheck. Hopefully I'm gonna edit this video and it's actually gonna make sense. I feel like I just rambled a ton of nonsense for probably an hour while doing my makeup. Hopefully this gave you a little sneak peek into the insider world of being a party princess. Hopefully you understand it a little bit better. Again, I think it's very strange that this is something that I do and enjoy doing considering everything about me. If you have any questions about party princessing, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'm happy to be making a slow return to YouTube now that the school year is over. I'm no longer having my ass kicked by finals. I really did plan to continue doing YouTube, and then I directed a documentary and that took all of my brain power. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!